Hey there. You wanna get a little weird? So it's been a while since we did an Iceberg around here, and I figured, why not? I found this neat looking one about weird stuff on YouTube by fellow YouTuber Theory TV, along with a few other topics here and there. It's got some cool stuff in it. At this point, I just kind of assume everyone knows what an iceberg is, but if you don't, it's a chart that has a bunch of stuff on it, with the most known at the top and the least known at the bottom. This one's even color-coded to separate series, videos, channels, other, and events, which is how each tier will be broken down. So if you want to see some weird stuff on this website you probably spend too much time on, like myself, stick around. You might find a new series to enjoy or something to scare your friends with. Also, a lot of these channels and videos will be in the description if you want to explore them for yourself, subscribe to the creators, have them for your own catalog, what have you, after you're done watching this. Starting off tier 1, we have the Backrooms. If you haven't heard of the Backrooms, it's a newer phenomenon on the internet that sprang from a post on the X-Paranormal board from 4chan that reads as the following. If you're not careful and you don't clip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the backroom, where it's nothing but the stink of old moist carpet, the madness of mono yellow, the endless background noise of fluorescent lights at maximum hum buzz, and approximately 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms to be trapped in. God save you if you heard something wandering around nearby, because it sure as hell has hurt you. Shortly after it was posted, it kind of went viral within the internet horror sphere, and the concept started to take on a life of its own, and it fostered a community similar to that of the SCP. Now I'm talking they made games, expanded lore, additional levels, and even artwork, kind of expanding the fascination with liminal spacing you may have seen. And the series by Kane Pixels, which is what this tier is actually about. Kane's series is a combination of found footage from people who accidentally fell into the backrooms, and documentation from a secret government or private corporation doing research into it, for lack of a better term. Exploring the backrooms and the entities and curiosities of it, and to try to explain it all would honestly warrant its own video. So instead of that, I'm just going to say go and watch it for yourself. It's a very well done series. Or just find a video breaking it down, which I want to do at some point, but I'm not going to do it here because that would just be too long. And while I was doing research for this Iceberg, it was revealed that Kane has actually chosen to direct a full-length movie based on his series. So there is even more of a reason to go watch this because you can see it before Hollywood sucks all the creativity out of this kid. Next is Been Drowned, a creepypasta turned ARG by Alex Hall that came out years and years ago with some surprisingly convincing modded footage of Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask to accompany it. And before I get into this one, I don't know Zelda, so bear with me. To quickly explain the creepypasta, it follows our protagonist who gets a copy of Majora's Mask from a yard sale for nostalgia's sake, but it turns out that the copy is haunted by a kid named Ben, and now Ben is haunting him and trying to be set free. That's the basics of the original creepypasta. Then it went dormant for like a decade, and it came back around 2020, 2021-ish, and actually had a genuine conclusion. Now, when the original story was first posted, it had an accompanying video of creepy modded footage of Majora's Mask that worked as a visual representation for the gameplay the author describes in the story. With the first video being uploaded by Jostbull in September of 2010, it's literally just a series of footage of Majora's Mask gameplay that is slightly uncomfortable. It's not jump scary or anything, it just makes you feel like something's wrong. Because all it is, it's just gameplay that's slightly off, including Link being followed by a statue of himself. This creepy ass looking dude, entire play space is not loading in properly, texture's not rendering right. The entire thing is just, off-putting. If you haven't read the original creepypasta, go read it. It was a trailblazer for not only the genre, but gaming creepypastas as a whole, as a lot of other gaming creepypastas either used it as an inspiration or just completely ripped this one off in some way, shape, or form. And the accompanying footage just kind of adds to the idea that this is real, which was kind of the key thing with creepypastas back in the day, making you think it was real. Where do I even begin with this next entry? Happy Tree Friends. It first premiered on Christmas Eve in '99 and predates YouTube, if you didn't know. Happy Tree Friends is a web series turned TV series turned back into a web series by a company called Mondo Entertainment about lovely woodland critters and how they get violently killed. And when I say violent, I mean violence. And that's basically it. The show does a false sense of security you'd probably associate with more modern series like Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, where it presents itself as a cute show for kids and then quickly turns into not that. Like I said, it started as a web series. It was hosted on Mondo's website. Then it got picked up by G4. Remember when G4 was a channel? Then once YouTube came out, it all got put onto YouTube. The series actually lasted until 2016, which I didn't know. I figured it would have died off around, I don't know, 2008, 2009. It was just a shock series to shock your friends with, and, you know, look at the cute little woodland critters get violently killed. I remember as a kid, I really liked the ones with the PTSD-riddled squirrel that would go berserk on everyone. So, go watch some of those, I guess, if you want some nostalgia. Valid Fingers is a web series by David Firth about this creepy-ass looking dude doing creepy-ass things. I mean, just see for yourself. Similar to Happy Tree Friends, this got its popularity by starting as a series of videos you'd show your friends just to freak them out. But unlike Happy Tree Friends, this series kind of embraces the weird and unsettlingness. One would even say that David kind of revels in it. It's a series that, just from the background footage you're seeing, it's quite obvious what makes it so weird. But it actually has lore and interpretations behind it. Theories have sprung up from Salad Fingers being schizophrenic, a shell-shocked veteran of the First World War, the sole survivor of a nuclear Armageddon, and so much more. There's really not much else I can say about this series. Just go and watch it for yourself if you haven't, and come to your own interpretation and conclusion of it. Day at the Zoo is the first video to have ever been posted on YouTube, and it's, well, just that. I kind of don't really know why it's on this Iceberg, but I mean it is, and it's kind of a significant part for the website, I guess. It's a video of co-founder Jawed Karim just standing in front of some elephants at the San Diego Zoo. The only reason why I can think it's on here is Jawed would use the video's description to criticize YouTube's choices as a company after they had sold it. For example, he used it to criticize the requirement of a Google Plus account in 2013 and the removal of the dislike button in 2021. Also, going through the comments section, one guy commented on how people used to do nothing but self-promote on it. Subscribe to me! According to the Wikipedia page on the video, there's also a lot of bots and scams in the comments, but I didn't notice any obvious ones, just people commenting on how this was the first video and it's where YouTube started. Oh, and one dude asking if Jawed was pansexual, which I don't know, that was just like out of the sea of like, oh, it's where it started, and just getting hit with that. It made me chuckle. I don't know. The Scary Car ad. Originally posted 16 years ago, the Scary Car ad was a jump scare that started with this car going down a road and then boom, zombie pops out to scare you. Don't worry, I'm not going to jump scare you. And that's it. It was originally made as a coffee ad for a canned coffee company in Germany, but you know, the internet kind of became a thing and the whole coffee aspect of it disappeared. I remember the first time I actually saw this video, my 7th grade art teacher actually showed it to us, and he scared an entire classroom of 12-year-olds just for a quick easy laugh, and I will never forgive him for that. The Scary Maze game is a classic prank people used to pull on each other, in which you get your friend to unwillingly track their mouse in a simple maze, only to get jump scared after a few levels. I don't know if this is an actual video on YouTube. I thought it was just a flash game, but apparently I don't know. Regardless, along with the initial video itself, there are also thousands upon thousands of compilations of kids and teens getting scared by this game that were really popular to upload when it was popular back in the early days of the website. SuicideMouse.avi is a video that accompanies a creepypasta, one of the first Lost episode creepypastas, mind you, that is nothing but Mickey walking in a loop looking more and more distorted and scary until he eventually, well, ends himself. The oldest upload I can find from this video is by username 666, which is also a video that we will talk about later on in this Iceberg. Dumb Ways to Die is kind of adorable. I'm not gonna lie about that. It's a really catchy and meme-ish song about, well, dumb ways to die. I think it's kind of been lost over the years because it's been memed so much, but this was originally a video made as a PSA by the city of Melbourne, Australia, to promote safety around trains. And I remember I think I was like a junior in high school when this came out, and it was really popular then. There was a mobile game that came with it too. Unlike other one-shot video entries on this Iceberg, especially in this first tier, which is mostly older stuff on YouTube, this one's still kind of prevalent because the audio is used on TikTok now, and I'm sure we've all heard at some point. So just remember the message of the song. Don't go messing around with trains because you will die. Shrek is Love, Shrek is Life is a source film animation first uploaded by Airplane Andy based on a 4chan post about a young man fantasizing about Shrek coming into his bedroom and, well, let's just say Shrek reclaims his swamp. I actually talked about this video in the Shrek Iceberg because both the video and 4chan posts went kind of viral in the early 2010s and were part of getting the ball rolling for the whole meme of Shrek being an eldritch being, the cult of Shrek starting. Too Many Cooks is an episode of Adult Swim's infomercial series, which has more entries later on, with this one being made by Casper Kelly. Originally, it aired in October of 2014 at like 4 a.m. The short itself is just a parody of 80s sitcoms intros, and it just kind of gets weird from there. I don't want to spoil this one. You should honestly just kind of go watch it blind. That's what I did. I never heard of this beforehand, and I feel like that's the best way to do it. Just watch it for yourself. It's not scary or anything. It's just out there. Logan Paul's Suicide Forest. This is a bit of a morbid one, but you may remember back in 2017, Logan Paul, who at the time was one of YouTube's golden boys, released a video where he and some friends took a trip to the Aokigahara Forest in Japan, a place known for where many go to take their own lives. While there, Logan and his group came across a man who had taken his own life. They recorded it, like his body and everything hanging from a tree, and posted it to YouTube for, the views. Naturally, there was a massive community backlash, and everyone on the site, celebrities and the media in general, were just mad at him as, obviously it's insensitive to, kind of post a dead man on the internet. And not only that, but everyone kind of acted inappropriately to the whole situation. Oh, and again, using a dead man for views on the internet, yeah, so you can understand. There was also some controversy because YouTube didn't really do anything for a while. Ultimately, Logan got the massive criticizing from everyone but YouTube itself. He made 2 shitty apology videos, lost some deals, and by and large really just kind of walked away from the whole thing scot-free. What I will say though is, from everything I've heard and from doing my research, this was kind of the thing that made him clean up his act and be more mature for a bit at least. He was seen as being a more respectable individual for a while. That is, at least until the whole NFT thing he's got going on now. I don't really know what all that's about, so I don't want to get into details. Rounding off just individual videos for this tier, we have the Sex Offender Shuffle. It's a parody of 80s PSAs where the local kid diddlers of the Miami-Dade area partake in a song to let the locals of the area know that they're moving to the neighborhood. Supposedly people thought this was a real leaked PSA, which is even funnier than you think it is, because it's like, no, this is humiliating. They wouldn't be this mean to it. Well, I mean, who fucking cares? They're sex offenders. But anyway, yeah. People thought this was a real PSA. It wasn't. The creator of the video is actually in the video. Regardless of that, it's pretty funny and unexpected. I'd never heard of this before and didn't know what I was going to find when I looked this up. I was kind of scared to Google it, honestly. Moving from individual videos, we have whole channels with How To Basic. It's got 17 million subscribers, and How To Basic is a shock gag channel that presents itself as a, how-to guide for simple things like how to clean a mattress, cook ribs, fix a broken door, and even the simplest things like boiling an egg. And then this happens. That's kind of this channel's whole thing, is making you think you'll get a quick, easy tutorial, then, well, chaos erupts. I remember I actually first found this channel years ago when I was trying to look up how to fix the Xbox Red Ring of Death, and I accidentally watched How To Basics guide. Well, spoiler alert, it didn't help. It just broke it more. Up next we have Filthy Frank, a man who probably doesn't need an introduction as he's an iconic piece of YouTube comedy with many of his classic bits such as,
"It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? Welcome to the rice fields, motherfucker!
Your fucking place, trash!
being iconic, memorable memes still used today. While classic and memorable for the comedy, Filthy Frank, unfortunately, has been retired since around 2017, as the creator, whose name I don't know, he's gone on to become Joji, a popular singer that will get anyone in their feels. Next we have Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, a web series I mentioned earlier that, much like Happy Tree Friends, presents itself as a fun, educational kid show similar to Sesame Street that kind of lures you into a sense of false security. It was originally just one video that kind of went viral as a cute kid show that goes very dark and very shocking very fast. It was meant to be just a one-off video, and then it turned into a full series and even became a TV show in the UK. It covers themes and ideas of adolescence, the education system, loss of innocence, and just kind of giving up your dreams and all that stuff. But a whole lot more. This is another series that, in order to discuss properly, it would require a full video to break down, and I don't really want to do that right now, so just go watch it to see what you think. Bulk of 58 is an analog horror series made by Chris Straub, the same guy behind Candle Cove, about a local TV station that is constantly hijacked by unknown entities. The series was mine, like many others, first entry into analog horror as a genre, and though it wasn't the first, it did kind of pave the way for many other series that we'll talk about later on, in this using VHS quality recording of the TV channel for its videos that really popularized the idea of, well, using old media as a form of telling horror stories. With popular episodes including children's programming and contingency, if you haven't seen it, go watch it for yourself. The whole series takes about an hour to watch. It's one I'd strongly recommend. And we're going to take a break from the dark and kind of scary entries to talk about Bill Wirtz, a very psychedelic and funny channel. Bill makes odd videos mixed with crude art and song that's... I don't really know how to describe it, but I love this man. Some of his videos I recommend are the history of Japan, the entire history of the world, I guess, Mount St. Helens is about to blow, and I'm a huge gamer most of the time. Honestly, I don't know how else to put it, but I guess to give a comparison, if you like Bo Burnham, you'll probably love him. It's comedic music with incredible visuals. Just give him a watch. But now that we've gotten that break from the weird, we're back to the weird with Jack Stauber, a very talented animator who not only does stop motion and animation, but music as well. Hell, he's even done some ads for Adult Swim. That's really, there's nothing more to his channel. This is just an artist with a unique style of presentation that could easily make someone feel uncomfortable. There's really not much more to his channel. Jack is just an artist with a unique style and presentation that could easily make someone feel uncomfortable. If you've never gone through his channel, I would recommend just going to it and selecting a few videos at random, just to see what you get. I mean, that's what I did, and it's really the best way to do it. Or go watch one of his Adult Swim shorts like Opal. Kind of go into all of his work blind so that you never know what you're going to see. It's because it's always different. Brandon Rogers is a sketch comedy channel that is rather bizarre. It's ran by, well, Brandon Rogers, and according to my girlfriend, his work feels like a crossover between What We Do in the Shadows and Brian David Gilbert. His sketches include movie parodies, dark comedy, dating video parodies. Brandon's also done some work for a series like Hell of a Boss, so if you know or enjoy that, you'll probably love his work. And while his content isn't my cup of tea, I will admit his Madam Ex-President has the best ad placement I've ever seen in a YouTube video. Surreal Entertainment isn't the start of the other section, it's a channel. Seriously, and that's exactly what the name implies. The channel is just a bunch of surrealist shorts and different pop culture and media franchises like Invincible, Squid Game, and Sonic, along with some internet created characters like Meme Man. Also, I didn't know that this floating head thing was known as Meme Man. When was someone going to tell me that? We're moving on now, just go watch some Surreal Entertainment. Anonymous is another animation YouTube channel with most of their videos being edited in Source Filmmaker, the program that lets you make animations in Valve games, with their videos being odd to say the least, and you never really know what to expect from them. It's another channel that I would say the best way to watch it is completely blind. So in the description, I'll have a few just random videos of theirs linked so that you can be surprised by them. And now we move on to the other, and we started with weird ASMR and mukbang videos. Look, I'm just going to be blunt with you. The concept of ASMR videos is already weird to me. I've been living with being partially deaf for the better part of like 5 years now. So to be able to fully hear again just doesn't sit right. It's not comfortable anymore. If you didn't know what ASMR is, according to Wikipedia, it's a tingling sensation that usually begins on the scalp and moves down to the back of the neck and upper spine area. It's a pleasant form of paresthesia and can cause the subjective experience of low-grade euphoria characterized by a combination of positive feelings and a distinct static-like tingling sensation to the skin. It is most commonly triggered by a specific auditory or visual stimuli. To me, that sounds like people get aroused by sound. I tried looking into the ASMR part of it. I couldn't. I skipped around in like 3 videos and I had to stop. It just made me too uncomfortable. On the Iceberg itself, they're mentioned as a not safe for work tag, so I'm guessing the creator specifically means the deliberately sexual videos that are made, like the one of that one Twitch girl who like licks the microphones while promoting their bathwater. And then you have the mukbangs, which are similar, kind of weirdly erotic, and it's another subgenre I don't understand. I don't like sitting there watching people eat, especially not gorging themselves on an ungodly amount of food. So yeah, we're gonna move on. So we have our first bonus entry that I added, and that is explained channels, which I know sounds derogatory, but it's not meant to be. These are channels that I'm subscribed to most of them, and I don't really know how else to put it. And you'll see that not only were they necessary in the research into some of these topics, but with a lot of the things we'll talk about later on, they're actually almost necessary. These are channels like Nexpo, Nightmine, Atrocity Guide, Rainbot, Scare Theater, Wendigoon, channels like that. And what they'll do is they'll take these internet rabbit holes, ARGs, online horror series, and what have you, and they break it down and give interpretations, and they just kind of compile everything that these series have to offer, especially these ones that, they have multiple channels, multiple Twitter accounts, Tumblr blogs, Facebook pages. They'll just combine it all together and put it in a concise, easily digestible way for you to follow along and make sense with it. And while it's not the majority of what most of these creators create, these channels are helpful, especially when you first get into this side of YouTube and you start getting into the analog horror and the internet horror and ARGs as a whole. You kind of need these channels to really follow along. They just help phenomenally. Hell, there wasn't a single tier on this Iceberg where I didn't have to go to at least one explanation channel to fully understand what I was looking at. Comment bots are no new thing to YouTube. Hell, this video might have 1 or 2 on it, and they're what they sound like. Bots that will spam either random comments or usually fishy links that are scams and viruses. It's your standard fare of internet bots, shameless self-plugging, subscribe, going after horny people, and channel hijacking. Hell, I remember a few years ago there was a network of bots that would go around leaving comments on videos asking if anyone wanted to be friends. And somehow, just by interacting with that comment, your entire channel could be stolen. And also, just as a side note, because this entry reminded me of it, a long time ago YouTube used to have a character limit on their comments. And once they did away with that, there was a dude that was going around and just kind of pasting the entire script of the movie Braveheart into YouTube comments. If you don't know, Braveheart is 3 hours long and has a very, very long script. Arabic YouTube is one of many rabbit holes to go down. From everything I could find, it's a lot of Spanish-speaking world shitposts with Arabic titles, but there is some gold in there as well. One of my favorite Arabic YouTube rabbit holes is ghost hunting. This guy specifically, whose name I can't pronounce because I don't speak Arabic, I'll call him Alambari because that's what his Snapchat filter name is. He's a ghost hunter, and his videos are absolutely mental. I love them. Arabic ghost hunting is very wild. Every single one I've seen puts any and all Western ghost hunters to shame. So if you go down any rabbit holes that come up, please let it be this one. Mr. Incredible Becoming Uncanny is a whole subgenre of videos on YouTube that use this meme template I'm sure you've seen at some point. And well, they're just kind of a little unsettling. It's more of the different images they use from Mr. Incredible and the audio, which is typically from Everywhere at the End of Time, that makes these videos so unsettling. Really, it's just kind of scary images. As for the videos themselves, they're just slideshows of different topics, with Mr. Incredible's face becoming more and more distorted. And they can range from any kind of topic. There's some where it's this is your bed, and this is the country you live in, to different ways to die, and disturbing facts. I don't know, I didn't bother to click on that one. It was 40 minutes long. I didn't want to sit there and stare at that. But yeah, there you go. Honestly, I didn't know this was a thing on YouTube. I thought it was just primarily on TikTok. YouTube Kids is a secondary part of YouTube made after some of the backlash in order to make a more child-friendly side of YouTube with less disturbing and inappropriate things. And intended to be a safe place for parents to know their kids are only going to watch appropriate content for youngins like Sesame Street and Bluey. YouTube Kids is full of rather dark and inappropriate content that's kind of easy to get to. After exploring the site for myself, I was quickly able to get to rather inappropriate Minecraft videos that were also predatory and boosting in the algorithm in terms of adding like and subscribe to save character in peril. However, I also found that typing in YouTube Kids on YouTube found much more inappropriate content, as like it didn't take me long to find dark videos that showed violent Paw Patrol parodies. Now, I wasn't able to find anything as bizarre and questionable that's like usually claimed to be on YouTube Kids by other like channels. I can say that just regular YouTube looking up kid-friendly content gets to a not very kid-friendly place very quickly. But hey, since we're talking about, you know, the weird things on YouTube Kids, let's kind of talk about the thing that caused the reason for YouTube Kids, which is ElsaGate. It was an event that first started and gained notoriety back in like 2017 when people began noticing rather inappropriate live-action depictions of popular characters, usually Elsa from Frozen and Spider-Man. There was a lot of those two together for some reason. These videos would often have like sexual content, extreme violence, fetish material, drugs, alcohol, general potty humor, things not appropriate for a 5-year-old. To make matters worse, these videos would have tens of millions of views, be monetized, and could slip past the censors and make their way onto the actual YouTube Kids platform, which they still do because, yes. Due to the backlash received by media, YouTube issued a corporate apology, said they do better, and they deleted several channels that were connected to the rabbit hole. And I mean, honestly, they really only did this because of our next topic. The Adpocalypse was actually 2 events, the first being a direct result from ElsaGate, in which many corporate sponsors like Coca-Cola, Disney, and Microsoft started to pull their advertising from YouTube to prevent backlash coming onto them, during which many YouTubers suffered financially. This is why many content creators now have sponsors in their videos, like NordVPN, Manscaped, and everyone's favorite mobile RPG, Raid Shadow Legends. And this is the part where if I was cool enough for sponsors, you'd get an ad read. Eventually the dust settled and, you know, companies started coming back to YouTube for advertisement, but that didn't last very long, as a second adpocalypse happened shortly after in early 2019 when YouTuber Matt Watson released a video showing creepy comments on YouTube videos made by children in an attempt to take action. He kind of demanded a boycott of YouTube by their advertisers, and he morally grandstood on the whole Think of the Children platform. And he demanded YouTube be boycotted by advertisers instead of, you know, trying to talk to YouTube to see if they were already doing something or willing to do something, which they were. It also didn't make a whole lot of sense either, as all he was doing was taking money from people who had nothing to do with it, i.e. content creators, because no one knows if YouTube actually turns a profit or not. Like, Google has never revealed that. So Matt caused this whole commotion and then just kind of vanished from the internet. That's why COPA came in, and that's why now when you try to upload a video to YouTube, there's questions asking if your content is intended for kids. Videos that don't have comments, or, you know, they can't be played in a window and all of that. Implement has 2 really good videos going into Matt and what he did, so if you want a more in-depth look, by all means look at those. Starting tier 2, we have Harmony in Horror, a VHS horror series inspired by Squimpus McGrimpus's FNAF VHS series, which we'll cover later. The series itself is a VHS horror series that upon first look scared the bejesus out of me. That would require a lot of explanation, as it's on season 2 right now and shows no signs of stopping. Heavily inspired by FNAF, it's easy to say that this series has a lot to break down within it, as it's kind of mixes in everything from the big horror to come out of the internet over the last few years, but it is by no means a cheap ripoff or copy of any of it. The series really does its own thing with existing ideas. So give it a watch. Be warned, it has a lot of jump scares. It got me really good during my research stream I did for this video. What better entry to go over next than the one that inspired the previous entry, the FNAF VHS tapes. It's a fan series of, well, FNAF that presents itself as employee training videos for the pizza company from Five Nights at Freddy's. And while creepy in its own right due to the presentation and just the fact that animatronics are creepy, I feel like you can't get full enjoyment or terror from it unless you kind of know FNAF lore, which I don't. but from everything I could see, and if I were to take a best guess, it's just a retelling of the story FNAF tells in a video format. Monument Mythos is one of those series I've heard about a lot over the last few years, but never actually got around to watching myself until now, and I don't know if analog horror is the right term for it. I don't personally find it scary, but it does use a lot of the same techniques and like execution methods that you would see in analog horror. Either way, it's a series set in alternate America where James Dean is president, weird creatures that feed on tourists live in national monuments, and Alcatraz is a living island that spreads all the way to Texas. It's a very intriguing and unique series, to say the least. I've watched the first season of it and I love it. It's deserved the hype and the praise it's gotten. So if you're like me and you've heard of it but you just haven't bothered to like actually sit and watch it for whatever reason, go do so. Mr. Manticore went above and beyond with this one. It's actually really good. Keeping with popular analog horror stuff, we have the Mandela catalog made by Alex Kister. The first episode would make you think it's a religious spoof, but it's not. At least I don't think it is. But at least the series has to do with doppelgangers, known as alternates with unrealistic body proportions, taking place in Mandela County, USA. The series goes about how county members deal with the alternates and what they're trying to take over. This is a series that warrants a whole video dedicated to it, which is there's several of, because there's a lot to unpack. It's unsettling, weird, impressive, and I love it. As the series is not full of jump scares or shock horror, it just makes you feel uneasy, and at times makes you question what you're really watching, and it beautifully makes an immersive atmosphere that almost makes us all seem real. Our last series for this tier is The Walton Files, a FNAF-inspired analog horror series focused on a company called Bon Bon's Burger, and it's full of scary animatronics. I don't feel right talking about this one because when I went to do research, I found out the first part of the series was taken off YouTube, and I don't want to try to explain it from the middle of the story. Starting off individual videos, we have Little Baby's Ice Cream. This is a special time. A strange advertisement, to say the very least. The video itself is of a man covered in or made of, I don't really know which, ice cream, and he's eating ice cream out of his own head while staring at the camera without blinking. All while a very stern-voiced narrator talks about how happy and joyful he is while eating Little Baby's brand ice cream. The entire video just kind of makes you go, what the fuck did I just watch? And it looks and feels like something you'd find on Adult Swim at like 2 in the morning. And kind of like you don't really know if it's a real thing or not the next day. I remember when this video went viral, I think I was like a sophomore in high school, and all I thought was, there's no way this is a real product. This is just shock content to freak your friends out with. But no, it's a real ad for a real company and just one of many that they made. They were based out of Philly and apparently known in the area for their weird ice cream flavors like pizza and Earl Grey Sriracha. But they went out of business due to harassment they got related to Pizzagate. I guess they were like connected to the pizza place that got harassed during all of that. I'm not really sure what they had to do with it, honestly. Next we have Agamemnon's Counterpart, first uploaded by Michael Robinson in 2006. It's the iconic video that has this thing in it. This was my first time actually sitting and watching the full video. I didn't realize it was just flashing imagery with screaming. Apparently when the video first came out back in 2006, people thought it was cursed and there's a whole creepypasta related to it. But it's not, it's just a weird art project that Michael and some of his friends made for a contest when they were in school. Ghost Caught on Tape is an old jump scare video first uploaded in 2006 that shows footage of what looks like a blanket being pulled by nothing on a couch before the Exorcist girl comes running and screaming at you. I asked the creator of the Iceberg what this video was, and it's a very generic title. They sent it to me, like, they just sent me a link and nothing else. They were able to get someone with this 17-year-old jump scare, and I hope you're proud of that, because I'm not proud of not seeing it coming. Blankroomsoup.avi is a classic unnerving video where a man is forced to eat soup with a comically large spoon by, these things. Theories popped up all over that this is a viral marketing to it's the start of a snuff film, Red Rooms, a sick prank. It's from the deep web. If you name it, there's probably a theory around it. Apparently the suits are characters called Ray Rays and were made by someone named Raymond Percy, who claims the suits were stolen from him shortly before Blank Room Soup was first uploaded. If you ask me, that's a lie. Raymond staged this whole video thing for some notoriety for these characters. But whether it's true or not, the video with no context or anything is unnerving and questionable at best, but we're moving on. Simpsons Couch Gag is a stop-motion short by Weed Hardcastle, at least I think this is the video that is being talked about, in which a family is brutally attacked and murdered by the school bullies in a Your Next style fashion. Set to classical music, it's brutally violent and greatly executed. Lee has a few other videos later on in the Iceberg and just does some really good work. So check this one out if you like The Simpsons and stop motion. Dining Room or There Is Nothing is a creepy little video made by David Earl back in 2006, which depicts a woman in a burning house saying gibberish before falling into a bowl as the camera zooms out, only for it to zoom back in, with the woman rising from the bowl saying there is nothing before the video ends. And it's just a certified hood classic in terms of horror. It's eerie, it's unsettling, and if you don't know what to expect, it's nightmare-inducing. Every 90s commercial ever is a parody skit of classic zany 90s commercials. This one specifically is Capri Sun. That starts innocent enough and then turns into, well, this.
Pink, yeah! Yeah!
Liquid Slam!
Liquid Slam!
It's a bit of dark comedy and shock terror. It's up there with classics like Too Many Cooks, Sex Offender Shuffle, and Our Next Entry. I really like this one though. Unedited Footage of a Bear is another Adult Swim short from the infomercial series made by Alan Resnick, who has a lot more work we'll discuss later on. Unedited Footage of a Bear starts as, well, just that, before it turns into what looks like a YouTube ad for a sinus medicine, and that's where it takes off. We see the woman from the ad is addicted to the medicine before she is attacked by, well, herself. The whole short is commentary on addiction and how it can affect not only the addict but their families. Very well done. I don't want to spoil too much because it's actually very good, and if you haven't seen it yet, I'd recommend checking it out for yourself. Keeping with talking about Adult Swim though, we have Our Next Entry, The Dawn Is Your Enemy. It's an old bumper they would play on Adult Swim. It was made to be intentionally creepy in order to scare younger viewers into not watching Adult Swim, which is weird because as a kid I would watch it and I don't remember ever seeing this bumper. Composed of nothing more but this image and some scary audio, it's a stain of childhood trauma for many, and some even claiming that the sun used to wink in the bumper. There's even a creepypasta written about it. The bumper basically saying it was taken off air because it ran for too long one night, and Horrors Beyond Comprehension started to be shown and be played, but it was covered up because of the psyop. Now let's talk about a video I've never heard of, Going to the Store, which is, I mean, just watch it. I don't know where to begin with this one. It's weird, it's unnerving, and just a nice unexpected what the hell did I just watch to break up the creepiness that this tier has been so far. I Feel Fantastic is a classic horror video of an animatronic named Tara singing in a robotic voice that has left people unnerved for years. For the longest time, people believed it was related to a serial killer with the animatronic in the video wearing the victim's clothes and this random shot of a field being where he hid the bodies, but this isn't the case at all. Tara was made by a man named John Burgeon who just wanted to make androids for fun and home security, which I've said before and I'll say it again. Tara is a great home defense system because if I broke into someone's house and got met by her singing, I would scream and run out. Unfortunately, Mr. Burgeon passed away before he could see the impact his creation had on the internet, so now his legacy lives on as a unsettling video that will shock people for years to come. I just hope someone appreciates it for what it is. Fingertips. I'm just gonna let you watch Fingertips. Why was it made? I don't know. The TF2 community is weird. Do I have anything to say about it? Not really. Hamster Hell is another video made by Lee Hardcastle that Lee describes perfectly in the description. It's about a boy who secretly keeps hamsters hidden under his bed. And, well, the terrible life they live. This is one of those classic unexpected videos you'd come across back in the day that really shows what you were able to get away with on YouTube back then. Because this is really just the tip of the iceberg of the fucked up shit you could find on YouTube 10-15 years ago. This video kind of struck a chord with me, as I think it's safe to say we all knew someone like the kid in the video. because they had small animals or because we knew they would do what this kid does to small animals if they had them. If it wasn't for the claymation, I think this video would be a lot harder to watch and it probably wouldn't be on YouTube anymore. I'm a Snake is a classic viral video dating back to the early 2010s, uploaded by Matt Keck, where Matt pretends to be a snake. It went viral naturally. It got popular enough to be on shows like Tosh.0 and Web Soup. In the description, Matt claims he's not mentally unwell, disabled, or anything like that. He doesn't have any other social media. He just made this video for a laugh, and the comments are turned off. So what that tells me is that Matt got a lot of bullying and trolling for this video, which kind of sucks because it's pretty funny and it's just classic little harmless fun. Me, Me, Me is a song and accompanying music video made by Teddy Lloyd and Daoko about a young man's severe addiction to e-girls and OnlyFans. While the song is catchy and the video is very erotic and sexual aren't the terms I would use, but there's a lot of naked anime girls in the video, as it makes a very surreal and honestly unnerving depiction of what not only porn but general internet addiction can do to you. But with its themes and messaging came a lot of I'm 14 and this is deep posting related to it. Also, I guess it's had trouble staying up on YouTube for a while, as the one posting I found of the video wasn't the original and was full of comments saying YouTube needs to stop taking it down, but they were also like 6 years old. I did find this comment on an upload of just the song though that says, "This song is basically the dark version of They Are Just Drawings, Please Touch Grass." I got a chuckle out of that. Next we have Obey the Walrus, a video I feel everyone has heard of but no one's actually seen. It's a short video. It starts with this old school 3D face, some weird imagery and sound, and then we see drag star Sandy Crisp, aka the Goddess Bunny, dancing around in footage that is edited to be intentionally creepy by the video uploader. After first going viral, the video was met with a combination of "this is creepy" and "this is hilarious." Supposedly the video was made by a Latin American cult called La Morsa, but that's not true. That's just part of the creepypasta inspired by the video, because some reason back in the day every creepy video had to have a creepypasta to go with it. Smile HD is a My Little Pony fan animation in which the pink pony beats all the other ponies to death, and she has a wide smile. It's very well animated. Oh, and she blows up the world. Like I said, this is a very well animated short. You'd almost think it was professionally done, and the shock comes from the unexpected quality and the fact that, well, it's children's cartoon characters being violent, which I'm sure shocked the Brony community upon release for its content, but ML Poll was also a thing, so maybe not so much. I mean, I don't know a lot about Bronies. It's actually funny because I couldn't find Wyoming incident videos uploaded to YouTube. I had to watch Nightmind's explained video to actually see the content. But the video itself is a bizarre supposed cable hijacking that took place in, well, Wyoming. People were unsure of the legitimacy of it and even claimed it to be cursed or haunted. It's not. These videos are part of a very long-running ARG from the early 2000s that died for a little bit and then came back. I honestly don't know where it's at now. I think within the last few years it probably finished up. White House, Why You Never Became a Dancer is our last individual video for this tier, and it's something to say the least. The video is just this creepily edited girl moving her head while a British man demoralizes you. Apparently this is a song, or at least it's listed as a song. If there's a deeper meaning, I don't get it. I just got verbally assaulted by Gordon Ramsay and want my time back. But now we're on to like whole channels. Starting with Crypt TV, one of my personal favorites from back in the day actually. This channel was horror focused before becoming a whole behind the scenes promotional things for American Horror Story and Peacock's streaming service. Crypt TV would release experimental horror short films, which it seemed they haven't done in over a year. Nonetheless, if you're looking for good short horror to watch on your lunch break, check their archives for almost any subgenre of horror. Poppy is a male singer who rose to stardom thanks to her at the time boyfriend making unnerving videos of Poppy being incredibly strange and asking weird questions while wearing pastel and looking like a Stepford wife. Not really a whole lot else I can say to it aside from getting into the whole drama of like the behind the scenes stuff. She's just a very weird artistic girl who made weird videos to shock the internet and then dropped the bomb that she actually makes really good death metal music. So go listen to her music and yeah. Rubber Fruit was a channel full of weird source animations, specifically focusing on TF2, which seems to be run-of-the-mill for TF2 source animation. Is just weird. Either way, Rubber Fruit is funny, bizarre, and not what I expected going through the channel. To be honest, based on a lot of the horror shown this tier, I was glad to just see some funny, goofy animation for a good break. Silva Gunner is a compilation channel consisting of video game music, where Silva just uploads songs from video games, like their OSTs. But instead of finding like the 10, 12 hour long playlist that it's like the entire soundtrack, Silva just does, you know, one song at a time and just kind of throws them up there. He's really at like no limit on like where the music will come from. And it's a pretty neat little like, check it out, like, hey, I want to listen to some video game music, but like have some variety with it, not just like one game series. Getting back to the weird, we have Syriac, an animator that, well, they animate things. Their videos are surprisingly just Photoshop and After Effects, but head scratching to say the least, and that's all the channel is. He's just a dude who makes weird animations for the fun of it, and it's pretty talented at what he does. There's no deeper meaning or story or anything like that to him. It's just some animation. El Toro 64 Russ is another source animation channel focusing on TF2, and much like so many others, it's bizarre, surreal, and comedy. However, unlike others, El Toro is still making videos, with their last upload being a month as of this recording. I don't know what it is about the TF2 community or why all of their videos are bizarre, surreal comedy, but I kind of love it. I guess to truly embrace and love TF2, you must truly have your third eye open, and really, as much as I want to recommend TF2 videos and give you specific ones to watch, you just need to explore the genre blind and see what you get, because I've yet to find anything I didn't like in it. Now we have Everywhere at the End of Time fan projects, and in order to know what this is, you kind of have to know what Everywhere at the End of Time is. It's an art piece / album made by a creator known as The Caretaker. The album itself is supposed to be an auditory representation of dementia as it progressively gets worse, and these fan projects are other people's individual takes on the concept for what Everywhere at the End of Time is. And while the original album is depressing in both concept and the music's deterioration, these fan projects also just kind of add to it. I haven't fully listened to Everywhere at the End of Time yet, but I did listen to a few parts of these fan projects, and the reason why I say a few parts is because they're 6, 7, 9 hours long. They're not short listens. What I did hear though was, you know, they very much, you know, gave a sad feeling to me. It's an understatement, basically. Be careful looking into this one, because it's very emotional thing to subject yourself with, especially when you think about what they're supposed to like represent. Our last entry for this tier is one I'm familiar with and have enjoyed what I've seen on, and that's fake anti-piracy screens. These are videos made with the intent to scare and unnerve, and they are what they sound like. Fake anti-piracy screens for mostly Nintendo games, really. Reaching that inner childhood fear of feeling like you've done something wrong even though you didn't know what or how you did it. And these vary from realistic and passable to just grotesque and violent for violence sake. Then you have some like Comcast anti-piracy that's cable instead of game, and works because it digs in that almost emergency alert system fear. And if that's really it. I mean, you just kind of have to dig into these. Like a lot of the stuff you just kind of have to dig into and explore yourself, especially this whole like subgenre like sections. And we finally come to tier 3, which, like tier 2, is more one-off videos than anything else, described as a good mix between the well-known and obscure, with the unknown being disturbing and the well-known being, honestly, most of them can be classified as certified hood classics. Starting the tier off, we have Gemini Home Entertainment, a classic and my personal favorite analog horror series, as to not give too much away. It's about strange creatures being reported and the moon is involved. Like I said, I don't want to give too much away with this one, as it really is a series you just need to experience for yourself. Go look into it, give it a dive. It's got Twitter, it's got a YouTube series, it's even got a video game. Like, how cool is that? Omega Mart is a series of bizarre commercials for a grocery store chain that's, well, really it, kind of. The whole thing is an ARG art installation made by a group called Meow Wolf, and is a real place you can visit in Las Vegas. And these ads are just that. They're in-universe ads to get you to go visit the art installation, and the address listed is where you can actually go. So if you're in Las Vegas and or going there anytime soon, be sure to check them out. Sitting and Smiling is one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen on the internet as a whole. It's an art piece by a man named Benjamin Bartlett, where he sits there and smiles without moving for hours on end. This series has been ongoing for 8 years and he never gets up for anything. There are clips of him during this performance wetting himself, crying, and even his house being broken into, which I don't know who that's more terrifying for, Ben or the home invader. As, yeah, getting your house broken into is a terrifying thing. It's very traumatic. I feel like it's more terrifying to walk into a building and just see someone sitting there and smiling. I wish I could tell you why he does this, but I couldn't find any explanation for it, aside from it just being like an endurance piece, and just kind of just because. Blue Channel is a weird one, as a series that presents itself as late night paid programming that gets weird, to say the least. Made by YouTuber GooseWorkX, who's gone on to say it's not an ARG or an analog horror series or anything deep. It has no deeper meaning. It's just creepy for being creepy. I honestly don't have much else to say about this one. As of the time we're writing, there's only 3 videos, and I encourage you to watch them for yourself. Our first video for this tier is Beast, a classic that we've all seen at least part of. This little song is about different beasts and how they contribute to society, and while kind of funny, I couldn't watch more than half the video because I got a headache. And from what I get from the comments, people think that this video is scary, which I guess go off, but I mean, it just seems like a really solid shitpost to me. The Cursed Kleenex ad is a Japanese commercial from 1986 for, well, tissue brand Kleenex. That is weird. The ad itself is just a woman with a baby dressed up like a little red devil, and yeah, it's kind of weird and downright creepy. The song with it doesn't help. People began complaining about the ad when it aired, and naturally urban legends began. Legends including everyone involved with the production died, the child died, the actress in the ad, Kiyoko Matsuzaka, died violently. She went insane, gave birth to a demon. Take your pick on which it was. Obviously none of that's true. It's just a weird ass commercial, and one I don't like looking at for too long. Happy Anniversary is a disturbing video of an old man in a basement laughing, originally uploaded by 112 Dirtbag in February of 2011, and it was believed for the longest time to be in connection to the disappearance of a woman named Maura Murray. Maura was a college student who went missing shortly after a car accident she had gotten into on February 9th, 2004 off of Route 112 in New Hampshire. During a press conference, Maura's father called whoever took his daughter a dirtbag, hence the channel name 112 Dirtbag. Fortunately, yet also unfortunately, the man in the video has nothing to do with Maura Murray or her disappearance. Depending on who you ask, the old man named Jeffrey Olsen is either an insensitive troll or mentally unwell and seeking attention. To this day, no one knows what happened to Maura, but if you somehow have any kind of information, please contact your local authorities. Next we have Jimmy Neutron, Happy Family, Happy Hour, a very odd animation to say the least. It follows a typical day in the Neutron household where Hal kills Jimmy's mom, they order pizza, and said pizza cuts off Hal's head. This is one of those videos that became a viral meme and spawned a little series. And I wouldn't be too surprised to find out that this directly relates to the influx of Jimmy Neutron memes we've seen over the last few years, because it's definitely something. Toy Story Secrets is an old screamer that starts with a, "Oh, did you notice this in Toy Story?" and then boom, you get jump scared. It's nothing more. Dolphin Muzzle is a video that I'm sure was supposed to just be innocent, but became creepy due to the internet at large. The video is just of a man showing off his prosthetic dolphin snout, which honestly is really impressively made. It's this guy, I'm sure you've seen him from somewhere. But the lack of audio in the video makes it really uncomfortable to watch, and it almost taps into that uncanny valley feeling because obviously people don't have snouts. Mixed with a lack of noise when there should be, it just really does something. It almost triggers a fight or flight feeling. "Hey Walter, I got a new GF today." Starts off innocent enough with this fella talking into the camera almost as if it's FaceTime or a video message for someone, specifically about how he has a new girlfriend and they went to the mall before we see this. Before I go further, just know this is fake. Many people didn't know that when they first saw it, and it terrified me when I first saw it just because of the utter shock. I bring up this video being fake because the creator did get some backlash for it, since the video was uploaded 2 months after a 15-year-old girl named Kayla Berg went missing in Wisconsin, with many, including Kayla's mother, believing the girl in the closet was her. The creators of the video said it was a hoax and the start of a horror series that never took off, but according to a Daily Mail article, there is some blame to be put on them because nowhere is it mentioned that this video is faked. The guy in the video also did a kind of backhanded apology. He essentially said, "We're sorry to have caused distress. It wasn't intentional, but we're also sorry you went on a witch hunt without doing proper research." Marina Mordegaard Glesgorb is an old creepypasta about a video with the same name. That was supposedly on YouTube, and when seen, it would lead to suicide and mailing your eyes to YouTube. The video itself is just a dude sitting with this image tinted red. It's just an old creepypasta that didn't make sense, because how are you going to mail your eyes to YouTube if you don't have eyes? Get what I'm saying? My dead great-grandma's coffin in my own backyard is an unintentionally unsettling video by DJ Def Joey, in which he explains through ASL that he had to remove his great-grandmother from the local cemetery due to corruption before showing off the remains of his dead great-grandmother and kissing her. My only questions and thoughts to it are, why record this and put it on the internet? I understand that why he has the remains, I get that. But why show him off on the internet? And why kiss her? I would like some answers, please. Pete the Meat Puppet is a strange marketing attempt by Diesel, a overpriced clothing brand. Specifically, I think they sell jeans, because nothing says buy jeans like meat. It's a harmless little video if you haven't seen it. It's a good little funny surreal watch. Next we have to visit Teddy as he's having an operation, and this video is weirdly wholesome. Teddy Has Her Operation is just a very simple video of a man performing surgery on a teddy bear who is full of love that's been corrupted. Ed. Video itself is of a man performing surgery on Teddy, a bear full of love, sprinkles, and real organs. But it's not malicious or evil. The doctor is fixing Teddy because he got his heart broken. He's got to help him so he's ready to love again. And it was very kind and wholesome. I like this video a lot. Transfiguration is the video where this thing comes from, which you may be familiar with if you listen to creepypasta narrations, as it's often used with Gateway of the Mind. If you've never actually seen the video, it's 9 minutes of a man putting on makeup to look like this and acting in creepy monster ways. It's also like, it seems like it's an audition tape or for a movie or a show to show off his practical effects skills, and if I'm being honest with you, it's really cool and quite impressive to sit and watch how quickly this guy can come up with, these practical effect looking monsters. And I thought it was neat. I've never actually seen this video, so to actually see where the Gateway of the Mind thing comes from and to just see how quickly he was able to create his monster, it was a lot of fun for me. Next we have the music video for the song Fantasy by the French artist Die, in which a group of teens sneak into a pool before two of them become something out of Dead Space. Once our final girl escapes the creatures, her eyes explode as she witnesses a Lovecraftian creature so terrible she can't comprehend it. Much like Me, 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 this is one of those viral animated music videos that people dissected for more meaning and became very I'm 14, this is deep feeling. It also doesn't help that the video itself is kind of scary if you don't know what you're walking into, but the song itself is a bop. Getting back to the haunted Japanese ads, we have the Japanese ghost tire commercial, which isn't cursed or anything, just scary for the sake of scary. It's a snow tire commercial that uses some ghost to convince you to get snow tires for the winter. It even comes with a not for the faint of heart warning at the start of it. The commercial itself is short and sweet. Car driving on a snowy road at night, comes across a lady, she jump scares him, then holds up that sign asking if you want to buy some tires. And all I'll say is it's an effective ad. It doesn't snow where I live, but I feel the need to go get snow tires now. Keeping with advertisements, we have a Prankle advert, a bizarre and disturbingly animated video made by Pilot Red Sun, in which the Pringles man vows to do unthinkable things to you if you choose Doritos over his chips. Pilot Red Sun is an interesting art channel. This video is one of their more popular pieces, but there was a comment that perfectly quelled all fears about the Pringles man coming for you if you're worried about him. His logo has been oversimplified. he can't hurt us anymore. Username 666 is a classic horror video made by Nana that works as a visual representation for a creepypasta that states if you go to youtube.com/666 and continually refresh the page, it will become more and more decayed and demonic until whatever demon you have somewhere takes over your computer. Nana actually has a few other videos later on in the Iceberg, and their channel has a bit of an unexpected turn, as Nana went from making these really well done horror videos to Minecraft videos. Quite the unsuspecting twist. Yelling Creature is a short video, so I'll just play it.
No! No!
It's one of those videos that if you came across as a kid, you'd probably have nightmares from it, but now, I mean, I feel like it's just quality stuff to make a meme out of. Body of a Pig is old ghost hunting footage where a man shows footage of a ghost hunting group he's no longer with and claims to have picked up audio of a ghost saying, "I have a body of a pig," before squealing, and we see this image. It's fake, just like, it's just another one of those classic scary videos you show your friends, and it's still kind of creepy, and definitely a certified hood classic in terms of scary videos on this site. So I've never heard of this video, and it's something. It's a funny little song set to the tune of It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas, and inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's book, The Shadow Over Innsmouth. It's a happy little song about a man in a town full of fishmen. And they get a little more violent as the day goes, and our singer becomes a fishman. This video is a nice little break from the super strange and creepy we've seen so far, and just nice little subversion. It's a happy sounding little song, but really dark. Let Me Hear Your War Cry is a shit post of the famous scene from Full Metal Jacket, where the drill instructor makes Joker scream, but we get this lovely unsettling face and these noises. The video is both unsettling and hilarious due to the creepy doll faces pasted over the actors, and I don't like looking at it for too long, so we're just going to mosey on over to the next entry. Max and Ruby 004 is a video inspired by a lost episode creepypasta about, well, Max and Ruby, a show made for young children based on books of the same name, in which Ruby, the older sister, often teaches Max various lessons about being a good person and their relationship as siblings. The video, like I said, is based on a lost episode creepypasta where the author gets a bootleg copy of the show with 4 episodes on it, and episode 4 is scary and full of hyper-realistic blood, all black guys and children dying. If you're curious to watch it, the original video will be linked, but be warned, there's a lot of screaming. All here is yet another video I had never heard of and was curious to see. It's a Vaporwave song, surprisingly. I thought it was going to be something scary. But no, it's just Vaporwave that consists of a repeat of the lyric "There's Nobody Here" by the song Lady in Red, and shows what looks like Rainbow Road as it goes through a city and transitions from dusk to night. The whole video, honestly, it's a vibe. It's relaxing. I was half expecting it to be a jump scare, but no. Honestly, it feels like an internet checkpoint, just a spot to relax and browse, while browsing the site. Starting for whole channels on this tier, we have Boysvert, an animation channel that I would say seems to be worth a whole dive. The work is dark, weird, and disturbing. It almost feels like something I can't do justice, but I mean, if you want weird, dark art, it will be linked. And now we have a classic horror series in ARG known as Marble Hornets, which served as the first series to use Slender Man as a character, premiering just 10 days after he was revealed on Something Awful. I would say it's even the thing that kind of cemented the idea that Slendy can mess with tech, distorting video and audio, along with many other staples of the character. Presented as a found footage from a student project, the series shows how the director Alex is being stalked by Slender Man, and is honestly one of those series I have been meaning to watch, but didn't until I started writing this video. But even though I haven't finished the series yet, I can say it's well worth the praise, and one that to watch if you haven't already seen it. Meme Bear is a horror animation channel that makes some really impressive work for mostly FNAF, but it's also done some fan work for previously mentioned series like the Walton Files and Mandela Catalog. It doesn't seem to me like there's more to this channel. It's just a dude that likes making really high quality animation in their free time. I don't know if they made any animations for those actual channels, but it's all impressive, and I'd be shocked if, he didn't. Next we have Knock Plus 10, which I have no idea what to make of it. It's an intentionally vague and disturbing channel full of puzzles and mysteries to solve, as every video title isn't binary. There's distorted audio and ciphers in each video, plus Plus, seeing as the puzzle channel hasn't uploaded anything in about a year, I would say they're finished. So if you're looking for a fun puzzle, or go ahead and check it out, or just look up a Nightmine like explained video. Binwheel is another bizarre animation channel. I'm starting to feel like you can make a drinking game out of how many times I've said that. Self-described as surreal horror, Ben makes weird videos for the sake of weird, and I really dig his style. Really all I can say is go watch Ben's most popular video, Henry Eats, and experience his creativity for yourself. Don't know what I can say about Dad that hasn't already been said. It's a series created by Nathan Barnett, and chronicles the story of Dad, his ups, his downs, his family, and love for dance as he tries to become the best YouTuber in the universe. This is one of those abstract series that is kind of hard to put words to, but no dad is known to do weird live streams like dancing for 12 hours straight and saying Matt Watson 1,000 times. It's truly a rabbit hole that you can and should go down. Next we have Gilbert Garfield, a relatively new series that actually opens with a nice homage to Marble Hornets, as it's an analog series about a weird Gilbert Gottfried Garfield crossover that's just as strange as that sounds. I mean, this series is dark, weirdly funny, and kind of confusing. It seems like it's still ongoing to me, so if you really want to just do an explained thing instead of, just watching the full series, which I would strongly recommend, keep your eye out for bigger channels. I think Izzy Z did a breakdown of it, but I can't wait for it to finish and see where it goes. But keeping with the theme of Garfield, we have Lasagna Cat, a series that started out as an aim to do a live action remake of Garfield to kind of poke fun at the whole series. And then we have the final video, which is sex survey results, where at some point in the series they just put out an 800 number to call and give a sex survey. This video is 4 hours of knock knock jokes, with it being knock knock, who's there, and then the who's there being real people that called into the 800 number, giving their answers for the survey. Until the last 20 minutes or so, when we get a very surreal and kind of depressing look at John, and it just takes a whole 180 and becomes a truly terrifying short. Closing off this tier, we have This Place Is Not Happy, a channel that I'd never heard of and kind of wish I didn't. Not because it's bad or anything, just because it's uncomfortable. It's a weird, uncomfortable channel. It's only got 3 videos, and it tells a story about a genetically modified animals that look like AI art bots attempting to make farm animals. I think this channel is very early in its production, or it's a side project to another series. I'm not sure which, but I kind of want to see where it goes, and I kind of don't want to see where it goes, just because of the disturbing imagery. Now we begin tier 4, the last on the iceberg that I can look at and say I've at least heard of most of these. Full of bizarre and the rare that most people who have heard of the darker things on YouTube more than likely haven't seen without some kind of deep searching. Starting off, we have Cat Ghost, a fun little animated series about a ball that sounds like Charlie, who hangs out with some ghosts that seem rather malevolent upon first look, with it getting stranger from there. This series has amazing animation and voice acting, and if you're looking for a new series to watch on YouTube that's definitely more than meets the eye, this is one for you. By all means, look into it. I watch it in my spare time now. I love it. Needle Mouse is an analog horror retelling of Sonic.exe, I think. Right out of the gate, it lays its cards on the table as, the protagonist, or whoever you want to say it is being haunted by Sonic, and they're looking for a specific person. The series forgoes subtlety and ambiguous natures of most analog horror series and just goes straight to the point for telling the audience what's happening, which I really like. I enjoyed the lack of cryptedness of it. Part of me says that it's cringe because it's Sonic.exe, don't watch it, but another part of me says it's really well done and it gives a good look at the character and does a really good job of retelling the story into something good. So if you want a good reinterpretation of the series, go watch it. If not, you can skip it. Keeping with analog horror based on games, we have TMK, or Too Much Kirby, an analog series based around, well, Kirby. That not a lot of people have spoken about, that I'm having a hard time interpreting. I feel like this is one of those things that you really have to know about Kirby to fully get. But I know next to nothing about Kirby, so I'll let someone in the comments tell me what this is all about. And with that, we're done with the series on this tier, and we're moving on to videos, starting with 11BX371. This is that footage of a plague doctor I'm sure you've seen. There was a lot of mystery behind this video, as it was originally posted to 4chan, with claims it was found on a park bench. People have said it's related to murder, aliens, occult, terrorists, and everything in between. No, this video is just an art project done by a man named Parker Wright. He's an artist that lives in Poland and likes to do creepy stuff. So, Jack Thatcher 2003.mp3 is an interesting video uploaded by Santa Old Dirty Rocco in 2019. If not by them, then at least that was the oldest upload of the video I could find. The video is a news report that seems to be hijacked by telling the viewer that they aren't who they think they are. They are in fact a man named Jack Thatcher that went missing in 2003 while telling them that they are being watched and they need to wake up. And that's it. The video isn't part of a larger ARG or series, it's just a neat little video to spook you in the middle of the night. However, there are several comments saying that they think this concept is neat. It would be a neat one to put into a video game, then continue on like nothing happened, which I have to agree. I think that would be really good in a good horror movie. Not horror movie, horror game. Notori has gone mad, or take it slow with cucumber flavor, as the video title translates to, is kind of out there. It starts as a cute anime girl, then quickly shifts to her becoming a giant monster with weird face and gradually more and more distorted animation. Everything in this video is in Japanese, so I can't get much more out of it. It's definitely an odd one though. This House Has People in It is another Adult Swim short by Alan Resnick that is honestly terrifying. The short film was entirely shot through like home security footage. As a son is getting ready for his birthday, mom and dad are discussing where to go for a vacation. Grandma's on the couch watching TV, the baby is playing with some slime. Oh, and the oldest daughter is being sucked into the floor. This is one of those shorts that has several layers and themes, including domestic squabbles and child neglect, with a good mix of pure terror, just because. I mean, seriously, it's only 11 minutes long. And Nightmind was able to make an hour-long video breaking it down. If you haven't seen this video yet, please just go give it a watch. You're not doing yourself any favors by not watching it. Bananas exploding on face is exactly what it sounds like, and the description of the video explains it perfectly. Quote, a Brooklyn-based artist named William Lamson put on a mask embedded with firecracker stuffed bananas and filmed himself lighting each fuse, causing bananas to explode. What's the message? Artslant says, the banana, a classic agent for slapstick pitfalls, has also now become to represent the pitfalls of corporate farming practices. I say bananas are evil and must be destroyed. It's a weird video to sit and watch with the lack of sound aside from the firecrackers doesn't help. But I mean, that's performance art for you, baby. No one understands it. Barbie.avi is another video supposedly from a creepypasta that's there to help with the legitimacy of the story. The story is pretty simple. A guy finds an old computer on his video called Barbie, and it's an hour-long movie with distorted audio that consists of a woman sitting being interviewed, all while becoming more distressed. The movie cuts to someone walking on train tracks, and our narrator goes to investigate out of curiosity. Upon investigation, our narrator finds a house, steps inside, and realizes he's not alone before noping the fuck out of there. And well, the actual Barbie.avi YouTube video fits the description of the video described in the story, but it's fake. The video used in the Barbie.avi YouTube upload is just a normal interview of a young woman who lost her arm in an accident, being interviewed for an amputee magazine, and that's really it. It's footage of a normal interview being reused to make horror. So this next entry is actually really interesting because it's lost media. The Hitagata PSA is a supposed Japanese PSA that plays some train noises and depicts two white, faceless human creatures. Then one disappears and another appears, and mentions that human life is taken every 2 seconds. It's debated whether it was a real commercial or not, but there are several recreations based on eyewitness reports of it. But as for what the actual commercial looks like, no one really knows. One of Non-Human Bones is a fun little video of this pink fella frolicking in a field with some weird music to it. And one of the comments on the video kind of puts it perfectly. Just straight up, I don't know what to make of this, but I'm pretty sure I just got invited to a cult. And that's how I feel too. Our last individual video for this tier is Neutral Response, a video that has kind of lost its meaning in recent years. See, the video itself is just a clip from Futurama of the ambassador of the neutral planet saying they have no opinion one way or the other. And for the longest time, people would go to this video and, like or dislike it to keep the dislike bar completely neutral. But obviously because YouTube did away with dislikes, can't do it anymore because So way to go, YouTube. You ruined like one of the best parts of your website and like a fan-driven community thing. Starting with the channels, we have Daisy Brown, a channel documenting a girl named Daisy who lives with this lovely creature named Alan, a wonderful little guy. As the series progresses, we see more of Daisy's life, Alan growing, and some more sinister events. As Alan grows, we become more and more invested in what Daisy's father was hiding in the basement. I don't want to spoil too much about this series because it's genuinely one of the best short horror series on the site, and you could watch the entirety of it in, I don't know, like an hour, hour and a half tops. Just be warned before you go into it, it deals with themes of isolationism, domestic violence, and generational trauma, but it's still one I'd recommend, especially if you like the work of Alan Resnick, because it is heavily inspired by him. But speaking of Alan Resnick, we have an ARG made by him, which features a man named Alan, an Alan tutorial, as he attempts to do hack videos. You know, those garbage channels like 5-minute crafts that tell you something like wrap PVC pipe in a pool noodle and stick it to the wall and you have a free water. You know, those types of channels. But Alan isn't very good at them, and he seems a little nervous and a bit stressed. I'll leave it at that. If you seem interested in Alan Resnick's work so far, I recommend that you do go look at this channel. It's a little odd, but there's much deeper meaning and understanding of the characters in this, and I have to say it's my favorite of his work because it's one that kind of resonates with me a lot, especially because it dives into like content creation online. And so we have a bonus entry I want to throw in. The channel Fantastic Daily was a generic paranormal channel list that you could find on the site. You know, it's one of those top 5 ghosts caught on camera, low effort clickbait kind of things, but that's just on the surface. Fantastic Daily was actually the origin of the internet cryptid you may have heard of called the Black Eyed Children, and ran by a filmmaker who went by Mudo, and the whole channel was an act. Along with the ghost and alien list videos, Mudo was telling a story of how his family was being stalked and hunted by Black Eyed Children, which sounds like an interesting concept, but when you look up the channel now, you'll find nothing. Because Fantastic Daily wasn't promoted to ARG or internet horror creepypasta communities or anyone who would see it for what it was. Fiction. Mudo made the mistake of promoting it directly to the paranormal community, and they thought it was all real. And I'm not talking like the kids that watch 3 a.m. videos. You know, the paranormal community I'm talking about is full-grown, middle-aged adults that believed this was real, and when they found out it was all a show, they got mad. Inside of Mine has a really good video going into the details about all of this and everything that happened, including an interview with Mudo. But the long short of it is he got doxxed, death threats, and all, you know, the like from grown adults older than me because he was telling an obviously fictitious story. And this still upsets me to this day because I remember watching Fantastic Daily back in 2019, and you know, it was obvious it was fake. And I was really excited because, you know, it was like the first time since Slenderman had came out that I was able to see an internet cryptid actually start to like take form and evolve as a creature in real time. So, you know, I was excited for it because, again, I hadn't seen that since Slenderman. And to this day, I'm still mad that middle-aged adults are mad that they weren't able to tell that this was fake, and they ruined a really great series with a unique concept of execution. I mean, because Mudo put it perfectly himself. The only difference between his series and the Blair Witch Project was you bought a ticket to the Blair Witch. M.L. Andersono, or ML, is one of the first 5 major ARG projects featuring Slenderman, along with Marble Hornets, Tribe 12, and a few more mentioned later on in the Iceberg. Being the last produced of the 5, it didn't add much to the mythos, but ML did fine-tune what their peers had started. To put simply, so that you can kind of determine if you want to like dig into this one yourself, the series follows a young man named Michael Anderson. Shortly after he was being released from a psych ward, he is told to make video diaries by his doctor to kind of help him deal with all of his issues, and we follow him as he battles his mental demons and the Slender Man. So if that sounds like it'd be an interesting concept to you, go look it up. Keeping with the classic Slenderman series, we have Everyman Hybrid, a series that started as what seems to be a bit of a prank that evolved into a full-on Slender series, then a beast of its own. I have no idea how to describe the channel past that. It's probably the second longest running Slenderman series, only being beaten by Tribe 12, as it started in March of 2010 and ended in December of 2018. To simply explain the series, the first few videos present themselves as a group of friends who want to do fitness vlogs to help others get into shape, but you might see Slenderman in the background, almost like it's a prank or Easter egg. and this is a legit fitness channel, just putting them there for fun. Then you find out, no, that's actually Slender Man. There's a lot that goes into the series, and I mean a lot. The whole series is on multiple channels, Twitter, Tumblr, and I think DeviantArt. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure at some point ML Anderson and Marble Hornets become part of the series. Because of the complexity of it, if you decide to watch Everyman Hybrid yourself, I'd recommend a companion piece to help you follow along. Nightmine has a good one. It's 6 videos totaling about 11 hours or so, and yes, it does cover everything. To the Arc is a companion channel to Marble Hornets that would use YouTube's old response feature to post their videos. The videos are strange and cryptic and part of the overall ARG. However, from everything I could find, the channel's true meaning within the game has yet to truly be deciphered. Junior0437 was a source animator who did a mix of comedy and horror with their content, with it being mainly focused around FNAF and Godzilla. And honestly, I really liked their content. It was really well done and creative. Unfortunately, Junior hasn't uploaded in the last few years. From what I could see from digging around their channel, it was hacked at some point, and I don't know if he was able to get back into it or if the whole event made Junior lose motivation, but I hope they do return someday. Next we have Greenio, a very talented animator who really likes their Mario 64. Greenio is the one behind the VHS horror series Super Mario 64 Declassified, which shows some of the scarier aspects of the beloved game, especially during the beta phase, and really plays on the whole idea that every copy of the game is personalized. It's one that I don't think I can get into much detail right now, so I'm just going to tell you to go and watch it, or I will make a whole video breaking it down at some point. Karina Grisbo TV, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's Polish, okay? It's got some artistic looks in it. They're best known for their series called Smile Guides, which features Agatha and Maggie the Squirrel. This is a channel I can only say look into if you get past the imagery, because I don't speak Polish. So next on the Iceberg, this entry is actually for Alex's series Pizza Time Pizza, which is about a cult disguising themselves as a pizza, but I instead want to talk about Alex Bale's channel as a whole, because that's not his only series. As Alex has done many short horror films, Pizza Time Pizza, and his latest project, SpongeBob Conspiracies, which I honestly watched a few of some time ago, and I didn't even realize it was part of a larger series. Alex is the master of making these horror series and making you not sure if it's supposed to be a part of a larger project or not. In fact, I didn't know this until I got to this part of looking up his channel. There was a channel I mentioned in a previous tier that's one of his, but you'll have to look into Alex's work to find out which it is. So I think this next entry is the natural conclusion to all of those source animation channels that I have talked about, and it's one of my favorite series on this site. Gunslinger Pro is a channel that has a horror series that takes a look at the models used in source film animations, models themselves, and the hell they live in, being puppets. What I really like about the series is that it's kind of the start of a shift in video game-centered horror content, especially in the analog series side of things, because I'm sure you've noticed over the last few years the whole genre has been mostly oriented around older, 32-bit and late 90s 3D games, stuff like Sonic, Mario 64, Zelda, stuff like that. And this series kind of shows me that the content is beginning to shift to more games that I played as a kid, like Halo, Ratchet & Clank, Left 4 Dead, Assassin's Creed, Monday Night Combat, and things like that, because this isn't the only series kind of out there that's focused on this stuff. There's some on Minecraft, Roblox. I think they've gotten one or two. In fact, Sagan Hawking has a really good video going into some of these series. It's actually how I found this series, and I'm glad we're slowly shifting to games I'm more familiar with and that are nostalgic to me as opposed to people a few years older than me. And I can't wait to see where this goes. Post Content is a channel where a man posts content. His videos are simple enough and deal with him showing how to deal with different horror movie trope monster demon things. What I really like about his channel is it's your typical horror horror ARG series, but it's got a bit of a dark comedy twist to it. I mean, there's literally a point where he sees a demon staring at him in the street and he just turns around and goes, "I don't need this in my life," and he just walks away from it. So if you want an online horror series that has some chuckles in it, this is one I would strongly recommend looking into. So this next entry is kind of a weird one. Upon looking it up, Hey Kid seems like another channel made for small children that makes nursery rhymes, and I thought, that can't be right. Why would that be on here? And then I saw that, lo and behold, Nightmind had a video on the Hey Kids channel that this tier entry is about. And this is what it had.
The shoes or the lace? I mean, really you don't know, kiddo? Let me teach you. Come on, are your sports shoes ready? Okay. But be very, very careful.
It seems that this was a channel from the mid-2010s that people still aren't sure about. It seems to me that the debate on this channel is if it was an intentional clickbait farm to get views off of children that had questionable content, to put lightly, or if it was an ARG series that satirized said content that was used to kind of, you know, farm money off of kids. I honestly don't know, but the channel was taken down in the Great Purge caused by Elsagate, and there don't seem to be any re-uploads anywhere of their content. We're now moving into tier 5 of the almost completely unknown and bizarre. I don't know most of the things on here. I'd be shocked if really anyone does. Starting off, we have the Macabre Experiment. It's an analog horror series by Stuffy Studios that reworks classic creepypastas like Ben Drowned, Smile Dog, and Jeff the Killer into a connected series that works way better than you'd expect. I actually did a whole video breaking down this series and don't want to repeat myself, so I'm just going to shamelessly plug my own content. Go watch that if you want to know more about this show. And starting our videos for tier 5, we have Camera Heads, a video companion piece to a lost creepypasta that was originally posted on 4chan way back in the day, and the story is commonly believed to go something like this. X, what's a camera head? I was walking home through a nearby gully and came across a weird stack of rocks that had a torn envelope with some writing on it. It appeared to have been written in charcoal or ash. It said, I killed a camera head. On the next line, it took Trevor. In the last line, get help if I don't come back. And there was a mini DV nearby. This was all that was on it besides static, though I had to watch it a few times before I found this clip. Who took this video? A camera head sounds really silly if it's a monster with a camera for a head. And the video itself that you can still find on YouTube is the mini DV footage mentioned in the post. It's mostly static with some clips in between, including that of what we can only assume is Trevor being hunted by the camera head and a jump scare. To be honest, most of the intrigue in the story comes from the search for the original story and the creativity people have had based on just this one footage and what's supposedly the lost posting. I remember hearing that it might have been found, but I don't know. What I just read off was from the Lost Media wiki, which says that it's still lost. So I'm not sure. Feel Good Today is my new favorite comfort video, just point blank. The video is a kind of messed up looking dinosaur giving some good affirmations and offering a therapy session with some other weird images, and the whole thing is both comforting and uncomforting in such a weird way. I don't know how to put it. Super Mario 64 Big Star Secret is a Lost Screamer video originally uploaded by LotusMan17. Originally uploaded in late 2007, the video was a step-by-step guide on how to unlock Luigi before you get hit with the zombie from the classic car screamer. Lotus took the video down back in 2012 after receiving death threats over it, which, I mean, that's a bit much. A little jump scare is not worth wanting to kill someone if you ask me. And Lotus believes they may have deleted the video altogether, with the only known footage of the original video being this reaction made by two brothers uploaded in 2008. From what I could see also by a quick search, there was what looked like a found copy of it, but there's no way of knowing whether or not it's legitimate or not, as the original poster has not said anything, has not answered any comments, because that's all the comments were, was asking, is this the original source material? So yeah, it's a lost screamer that it's probably not out there anymore. Possibly in Michigan is a short film directed by Cecil Condit about two women being followed by a fellow named Arthur in a mall, and I don't want to go past that in describing it. You'd be shocked to know, especially looking at this footage, that this was originally made in 1984, as the film has a lot of similar presentation and editing techniques you'd probably associate with modern analog horror. But it's not, and honestly, one I would strongly recommend watching with as little context as possible, so it's going to be linked. Go watch it. Just pause this and go watch it real quick. Next we have Look at the Clown, which I can only describe as a violation of the Geneva Convention, as it falls under cruel and unusual punishment. The video claims to be made by a father in an attempt to help his son get over a fear of clowns, and what we get is a slideshow of, well, pictures of clowns, with an automated voice telling us to look at the clown, while unsettling music plays and the images get more and more disturbing. It's weird because I honestly don't know if this is a very elaborate shitpost, but but it's something for sure. It's definitely, if you want to scare your friends that have a fear of clowns, make them watch this 7 times a day. It will definitely help them get over their fear of clowns. Critical Surprise is, I guess you could say it's art. It was originally posted to YouTube as SCP-8161-J. The video is a cooking parody of everyone asking where the pickle is, but it's a surprise. Looking into it, the video was originally made by artist Tom Rubnitz. He was an artist and prominent figure within New York's drag scene in the 80s, and it's nothing more than just one of his art projects, but it does have RuPaul in it, and from everything I've been told, RuPaul's show has like a lot of lore and drama to it, and it's something if you want like a deep narrative, go watch. Now that we've finished our videos, let's check out some of the lovely channels on this tier, with our first entry being Clear Lakes 44, and it seems that there's some drama to it, and the channel you'll find now that's Clear Lakes 44 isn't the actual Clear Lakes 44 channel. It was supposed to be a spin-off / sequel to Marble Hornets that was cancelled due to drama amongst the creators, and was part of something called Thak and Ekfa, which were also a part of the spin-off sequel thing. From what I gathered, if you go to YouTube and look up the channel, you'll find it, but it's not the original. It's a fan channel that reimagined, reinterpreted the original idea of Clear Lakes 44. And this seems like a lot of drama I don't fully know the ins and outs of, and I'm sure someone can explain it to me. But enough with confusing unfinished projects, let's look at a confusing finished project. Hi, I'm Mary Mary. A series about a young woman trapped in a home that has some interesting roommates. It spans both YouTube and Twitter and I think Blogspot. It follows her as she tries to live in this house. Seriously, this show was a warning of what like quarantine was going to be like. If you've never seen this series and you enjoy work like Post Content and Daisy Brown, then I would strongly recommend it, as it's one of the better ones to come out recently. This is another one I kind of have to give a warning for, as it's very dark and deals with like very serious issues, so heads up on that. The Bike is one of the stranger channels I've talked about here, and I think that really says something. It's a Doki Doki Literature Club like fan channel that does odd, usually viewer requested stories in the style of the game. I don't know what else to say about that. It's just demented Doki Doki fan club, like fanfics. And that whole community just needs Jesus. That's all I can say about them. Next is the classic I'm sure some of you have heard of, Shay St. John, a surreal channel with bizarre characters and videos for the sake of being surreal and bizarre. Shay is one of those things that I've heard about for years and years, but never actually sat and watched until now, and I don't know how to explain it. The content's not scary or anything like that, but I watched 4 different videos and I can't put to words what I saw. You just kind of have to go watch her yourself. There's not much more to say to Shay. It's just some strange videos just to be strange that gained popularity in the late 2000s because that kind of comedy was getting a lot of traction at the time. Smile With Me is probably the most cryptic ARG I've covered on this Iceberg. From what I gathered, it follows a creature known as the Jester, and I think there's some talk of mistreating the mentally challenged. I don't know, this channel is small compared to a cryptic ARG series with around 6,000 subs and no coverage of it, so I'm guessing the dude who was running it either gave up due to lack of traction, didn't know where to take it, or no one passed the latest level, so it's at a standstill. So now we come to our last entry on this tier, Eratus, an ARG turned conspiracy that's kind of a wild ride. The long short of it is Eratus was an ARG started on 4chan by a band called KFC Murder Chicks to promote their music. The story itself was Eratus is believed to be a secret AI used by deep state big tech to do evil things and monitor people. Like they don't do that already. There's also a channel on YouTube called Chronos for Life that claimed big tech was stalking them due to knowledge of Eratus, and then they disappeared. And people believe that it's real, and before you say, well, maybe they did, but it's been debunked, no, the whole thing, the whole ARG actually went down in like 2015, 2016. And I read an article from 2021 that said, it's well after it ended, that shows people still think this is real and they're not sure about it. There was also this video made by Rooster Teeth, of all people, that kind of fearmongered the whole thing for clicks. We're nearing the end now. Tier 6 is small but quite haunting, full of channels and videos you'll probably wish you never heard of. Next we have what could easily be seen as the first screamer, like ever. It predates the internet, actually. Monkey on Their Back is an anti-heroin PSA from the 70s. I'll play for you, and yes, it jump scares at the end. Don't worry, I'll lower the volume.
They say people addicted to heroin have a monkey on their back. Isn't that cute?
And that's really it. It's a nice little piece of shock horror media history. I mean, from all the comments I was able to read, people were just like, yeah, nope, this is terrifying now, just like it was back then. I don't know why they thought to make this an ad, but they did. Poco Poco Shopping is the only video on this tier I have ever seen, and man, is it a good one. It starts with a very cutesy pink kawaii thing, and then, well, it falls apart when literally it all begins to catch fire, and literally melt into a hellscape. This video was also made by Nana, the same person who did username 666, and honestly, weirdly enjoyable, especially if you turn on the captions when you watch it, just to make it a little bit funnier and see some of their other content like the house tour, because Nana makes really good horror stuff. If you've never watched their shit, go watch Nana. From everything I could find, if this is the right video, Limbo the Organized Mind is a short film made by Jim Henson in the late 60s featuring Limbo, this weird face thing as it explores how the brain works. It's pretty creepy. I can see why the character wasn't often used, but that's really all the video is. It's an old Jim Henson short film with a creepy, getting philosophical face thing. The Maker is a short film about a stuffed rabbit working to bring his love to life before he disappears, and the cycle continues with her having to save him. I don't really know why this one is on here or so low, but it was a nice short film that won several awards, so why not watch it? It was a good little break from a lot of the stuff I had to sit and watch through. 502 is another old Slender Man series from way back in the day, with this one being focused on three friends giving tours in and around Louisville, Kentucky, before the Slender Man cometh. I've never heard of the series, but it already has a special place in my heart as I'm from a town near Louisville. The series was kind of small, only having a couple thousand subscribers and no videos cracking 10,000 views. I know I'm not one to talk, but you gotta remember, this series came out in the early 2010s when Slender horror series were all the rage. Thankfully, the lack of traction didn't deter the fellows from making the series, and it came to a natural conclusion. It even did a couple crossovers from what I could see, and this seems like a hidden gem in terms of Slender horror, and one I will definitely make a whole video explaining. ECFA is a sequel or spin-off series of Marble Hornets. Basically, remember all that drama that happened with the Clear Lakes 44 stuff? Well, after it got canceled, the folks behind Marble Hornets kind of reworked the series into ECFA, and as far as I know, it's still an ongoing ARG. If you haven't noticed yet, I never watched Marble Hornets, and this seems too deep into that rabbit hole for me to talk about competently. The Juno Archive and Restoration Project is another video game analog horror series, this time focused on the game Note It, an old game/animation software/social media platform for the Nintendo DSi. First launched in 2009, Flipnote's online service would go offline in 2013 to make its way for the replacement on the next DS model, so naturally, people who used Note It began a mass effort to archive all their work done by the community. A community-made clone for the online service called Pseudomemo was made, which eventually released their archive, everything saved from Flipnote. And I give all this information because it's important real-world context to understand the June archive. Because, well, the June archive was an attempt to archive Note It before Pseudomemo released theirs, and that's where the story begins. Because while it seems to be the start of an archive, it also appears some of the files were corrupted, and I'll leave it at that. While I didn't have a DS as a kid or was involved with the Flipnote community, I hold this series in the same regard as Gunslinger Pro, as it's doing the same thing. It's creating a horror series out of something someone my age would be more familiar with and would be more attached to. The series has evolved from just straight horror to an ARG, and from what I can see, it's still ongoing, so I encourage you to get involved with it if you like ARGs and or Flipnote. Eric Rowan is the personal page for the WWE wrestler of the same name. The videos on the channel are creepy and backwoods cultish-like, because that's part of Eric's gimmick. Rowan was a part of a wrestling team called The Family, whose whole thing was being a backwoods redneck cult. From what I could gather, this channel was something Eric did on his own time to help weave the narrative about his character and give himself some more depth. Not something officially done, but neat nonetheless. Now we come to what's probably the most fucked up online horror series to ever be on the site, the Human Pet Project. Started just 4 days after Google bought YouTube back in 2006 and told the story of a man who was being held captive and how his captor would, talk to the audience and ask them what to do with the man. From what I could find, there was some controversy over whether the series was real or not, and the series kind of jumped the shark and went dark with no signs of returning anytime soon. We have finally made it. The final tier of the iceberg, full of the weirdest and darkest things the site has to offer. Starting final tier, we have PHR 2-771. The video itself is a puzzle and shows us several images in a home with various rules about the rooms in the building, and it seems to be the start of an interesting puzzle of some kind. I couldn't find much of it past that. Don't know if it was ever solved or not, but if you want to try to look into it and see if it has been solved, it's there to go and look up. It's very easy to find. Plastic Men is a rather unsettling video made by the same person as Beast mentioned earlier. This video seems to show one of the beasts being attacked by disturbing humanoid creatures while singing in a fearful tone. A lot of the comments interpreted this video as the perspective of a child that was harmed in a less than stellar, like probably the worst way possible, if you get what I mean. And I don't want to go further than that because it's too morbid. I don't want to talk about that. Now we have what's literally the only thing on this tier I have heard of, Grave Robbing for Morons. A video that looks to be an old VHS of a kid in his late teens or early 20s telling us how to, well, rob graves for human remains. The video has been a bit of a mystery for a while, as no one knew if it was real or not, who the kid in the video is, or even when it was made. Debunked File has a really good video debunking this video and shows that it most likely came from a company called King of Witches, who their whole thing is making short films on VHS that look older than they actually are. So whether you want to believe that or not, I don't know. As far as I could tell, they no longer sell this movie, but it was something that they did at one point. Starting our channels, we have David Lieb Hart, a very strange musician who works with a puppet named Chip the Black Boy into his work. Very surreal, psychedelic sounding music, and David himself is a bit of a rabbit hole. Not much is known about him, aside from the fact that he's a multi-talented artist. He does music, acting, and, well, puppets. He's very big in the LA scene. He's appeared on shows like Tim and Eric and The Daily Show, and claims he got his start with Robin Williams. But the weirdest thing about David is he was the guy who sang Hallelujah in the Shrek Retold animated project. Next, we have another Slender series, The West Record. This series follows a freelance videographer that was hired by some people to record their investigation into an abandoned military base when the tall man shows. I know that's a bad explanation and you probably want more from it, but I mean, it's another Slender Man series, and two, I don't want to go into too much with this one because this series was actually really good. It has good writing, pacing, acting, everything. I know I haven't really recommended a Slender series so far, but I do recommend this one. Next we have a channel I didn't know what to make of at first. When you look up We Must Collect, you find a channel that has no videos, it has no playlist, nothing. It's completely blank. But seeing who they're subscribed to, which was a lot of Slender Man series like Marble Hornets and Tribe 12, this is their description. Pause if you want to read it. It seems to me that this was another Slender Man series that's seemingly vanished, or at least it was part of a larger series. I don't know if it's just part of the storytelling or due to drama from the production staff, but it's certainly something. I just don't know what. I couldn't find anything that linked it to any other series. And we've finally come to the final entry. Mostly Hostly. A small channel with some disturbing visuals and seems to be the start of some kind of sick online game. After doing some research, it turns out this channel is connected to an ARG called Tales from the Spiderweb, and it seems to be from the perspective of the main villain of the series, who's a proxy of Slender Man. To be honest, without that knowledge, if you somehow stumbled across this channel, you may mistake it for some kind of serial killer being vague or edgy teenagers being edgy, whichever's scarier to you. But I really couldn't get a whole lot out of this one. I couldn't find anything on Tales from the Spiderweb either. And with that, we're done. We've made it through another iceberg. If you actually sat and watched this entire thing, thank you. I really appreciate it. I honestly do. Like it if you liked it, disliked it if you disliked it. Tell me why I'm a hack or what I got wrong. I really appreciate anyone who bothers to sit and watch me, so subscribe if you want. See some of my other stuff. Tell me some stuff you want me to look into. Have a good day. I love you. Bye-bye.